Hey, Dr. Claw here with a quick overview of how to complete the critical response assignments in business writing. So the easiest way to do this is to hop over to modules. Do make sure you have the course schedule up. So that is linked on the home page that I just navigated away from. But so pull up the course schedule, hop over to modules. Here you're going to see everything broken down into its respective weeks, and that can be very handy when you're working with a class that has flexible due dates like this one. So I think when some of you looked at the first TCR, and the second one, it said for this week, I'm actually going to just go ahead and change this week to week 1. That way, if you're not looking at it in modules, you can still see that it's week 1. But anyway, when you're in modules, you'll be able to see exactly what TCR corresponds to the week there. And you'll also be able to see it on the course schedule. So this is week 1. You're completing TCR 1. Now this due date is different because I wanted to give y'all a little more time since we had a short week last time. Normally you have a whole week to prepare your TCR, so you're kind of always reading for the next Monday. The idea is that you have your textbook readings completed by the beginning of the week so that you can apply those readings to any assignments that are due or suggested to be due by the end of the week. So you can see your textbook readings include reading about resumes, and the supplemental readings are about resumes. So you would ideally have those done before you complete your resume assignment. So that's the general breakdown of assignment due dates. The TCRs will always be about the week in which they're due. So you write TCR 1 about the week 1 textbook readings, and you write TCR 2 about the week 2 textbook readings. Now again, I did update the assignment instructions so that it says specifically, well, I thought I had done this one, week 2 or so on. Okay, so those are the TCRs. Those are the required critical analysis readings that you need to do. Now let's jump into the assignment itself for a moment. So in the TCRs, you make 3 critical comments total for the textbook selections. So if we're looking at week 2 here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 textbook sections, and you can see those are always set off in their own bullet point. You will complete 3 comments about these 4 sections. Now, you don't have to write each comment on a different section, but I do ask that you include more than one section in your comment. So don't write all 3 comments about style or whatever, include some variety there. And those comments will be responses to these questions. So you can see, use the following questions to help guide you. Please use a variety of the sample questions to frame your responses. So as you begin your critical thinking work at the beginning of the semester, you're likely to just cut and paste 3 of these questions and then type your response to that. And those are your 3 responses. As the semester goes on and you get more comfortable with kind of critiquing what you're reading and questioning it and thinking through this style of analysis as you're reading, you might come up with your own questions. And if you do come up with your own questions, you'll simply type out that question and then type your response to that question afterwards, and that will be one of your 3 responses. So the goal here is that you are thinking critically about what you're reading, you are writing a response to what you're reading, and that you include the question you're responding to so that I, your reader, have an idea of what kind of question you're answering in your critical response. This helps prevent you from summarizing what you read, which is not the same thing as critical thinking, and that's not the goal of this assignment. So you're not trying to summarize what you read, you're trying to think critically about it, and these questions will help guide you in that direction. Okay, so that's kind of the gist of the critical readings assignment. Now let's look at some of the optional beyond the book critical reading assignments. So these, this is where I already updated the date. These refer to the supplemental readings. So you can see here, make 2 critical comments per reading for the supplemental readings for the week 1 schedule. All right, week 1. The supplemental stuff is not the textbook. It's going to be anything else that has a bullet point number next to it. So in week 1, there are 2 supplemental readings. The instructions ask you to make 2 critical comments per reading. So for week 1, a BBCR would have a total of 4 readings, 2 responses for business letters and 2 responses for eliminating wordiness. That's a total of 4 critical responses for the 2 supplemental readings. If you're doing the BBCR for week 2, however, you'll see there are 3 supplemental readings here, which results in 6 total critical comments. 2 comments per reading, 3 supplemental readings equals 6. Okay, so that is the BBCRs are a little more variable in terms of how long they are, and these are also optional. So you probably can't pass this course without completing any of the Beyond the Book critical reading responses, but you are not required to complete all of them. And so you can kind of pick and choose which are more interesting to you. That being said, it's probably a good idea to at least skim all of the supplemental readings because they're going to give you a lot of advice and suggestion about the writing assignments that we'll have. So even if you're not completing any critical reading responses for those, it's worth looking at them. Okay, the second part of the Beyond the Book critical reading assignment is the step 2, which, where is step 2 on here? Okay, it looks, oh, here we go. Step 2. In a paragraph below your critical responses, answer these questions. So how does the supplemental reading connect to the textbook located in the same module, also known as the same week? So how do these readings on business letters and eliminating wordiness connect to the textbook sections for this week? Or how do these supplemental readings on your presentation is crap, or the anatomy of a good resume, or the resume format guide, how did those connect to the textbook readings for this week? So you're trying to understand how all of these readings work together to help you understand something about business writing. And that is it. So you answer these questions in a paragraph below your critical responses. So yes, the Beyond the Book textbook reading responses are a little more involved. You know, they can be longer than the regular textbook responses, and they have this extra kind of reflective portion, but they are optional as well. You know, you don't have to do all of them. So you've got a little bit of a trade-off there. And hopefully that helps you understand a little bit more of how to complete the critical reading assignments, whether it's a TCR or a BBCR, and note everything is submitted on Canvas. If you are really excited about one of the questions that you answered, and you're like, oh my gosh, I think this is so interesting and thought-provoking, and I'm really curious about what my class thinks about it, you could certainly take that response and post it on YellowDig as a discussion. So you're welcome to do that, but in order to receive credit for the assignment, you do need to submit it on Canvas. And that's an overview of how to complete the critical reading responses for business writing.